Tatyana Arrington, Where is the Buzz TV? Chinonye, how you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing good. So I had the chance to see your film, and I thought it was incredible. It was so beautiful. I think it's so important for people to see it, especially in this day and age. I want to address very quickly the concept of Black pain or Black trauma. When I saw the film, I didn't get that at all out of this film. If anything, it's a testimony of strength. It's a story of a mother. It's a story of a woman, a Black woman. Can you speak more to what you were trying to convey with the film? Because I don't want that message to be out there, that this is a film about Black pain, because I didn't get that from the film at all.
Yeah, I mean, my intention was to tell a story about Mamie's journey, and also to tell a story about the love that existed between Mamie and Emmett, and the humanity that exists within them and between them as well. And so I take great care in how I tell the story, and was very intentional about that. And so, I mean, I was intentional about not showing physical violence against Black bodies. And it was important to me to show that, in the midst of certain pain and certain difficult situations, that there's still joy and light and empowerment that exists, and so I would hope that we don't throw out those stories that do have those moments of pain or challenges, because as a Black woman in the world, I've learned to live in a way that still can encapsulate joy and light and love in the midst of the inherent pain and frustration and anger and trauma that also it exists for me as a Black woman in the world.
Yeah.
Both can exist at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I got. I felt a sense of hope even at the end of the movie, which I think is going to be surprising for a lot of people. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for audiences to see it. I want to speak to the cinematography a little bit, because you did mention that you didn't want to show violence against Black bodies. I think that is so important. But the cinematography, there was something so beautiful about it, but also in those moments, something very chilling as well, and haunting even. Can you talk about the contrast between showcasing the beauty of Georgia, the South, but also like that haunting darkness surrounding the topic, the story? Well,
it was important to me in terms of cinematography, costume design, production design, that we visually communicate the vibrancy of Black people. And so that could be reflected through production design, through the cinematography, through the wardrobe, and I was very adamant about all the Black people being in bright colors, and it was also reflective of the time period too. And, Mamie and Emmett dressed to the nines all the time. And it was great to be able to show that, and to really tell this story in a way that is artful and cinematic. Also there's the vibrancy and the beauty of the visuals is a contrast to some of the inherent pain and sadness of the story. But it speaks to what I'm saying, that the joy, the life, the vibrancy of us doesn't have to be extinguished in the midst of the pain as well.
And Danielle is incredible in this movie. We have to talk about what was your experience like directing her, working with her. This is Atlanta's shining star. I know her from this world. I've heard about her, and to see her leading this movie is incredible. So talk to me about that experience as well.
Danielle Deadwell is phenomenal, and she's, I think, one of our greatest living actors, and you really see that in this film, but through her body of work, she sent in an audition tape and blew me away, and we called her back. We had director sessions, and she was consistently excellent, and we spent several months researching and diving into every emotional beat and nuance in the script. So by the time she got on set, she just had such an inherent understanding of who Mamie was, and the emotional and psychological journey that she goes on. And working with her was a dream. She was just a dream for me as a director. It's so easy and she got it. Every single take of hers was fantastic. Fantastic. My editor and I had a field day. We could choose this take or this take or this. It was incredible.
She gave you options.
She gave me options.
Range.
She gave me consistent excellence.
Yeah, I would expect nothing less. And even going into the courtroom scene, oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait for
Right.
audiences to see that scene. Did you know initially that, oh, we're not going to cut when she's on the stand? Did you know that initially, or did you?
I actually had 8 or 9 other shots planned, but we happened to shoot that one first.
Yeah.
That's in the film. After the first take, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I mean, she got a standing ovation from the crew.
Really?
I mean, it was spectacular. After the first take.
Yeah.
The second take, I look at my cinematographer. He looks at me. I'm like, I don't think we need anything else. And
Wow.
so then we had a total of 6 takes for that moment. And it was just a matter of getting the framing and composition right to be able to make it a oneer. And
Okay.
so being able to position the hands of the lawyer and the photos and figuring out the rack focus and when we turn and all of those kinds of logistics, we just had to make sure we get right so we have the proper context and suggest the world beyond the frame.
Right.
And so by the 6th take, we're like, good.
Wow. I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, they're not going to cut. Oh, we're in this moment with her, like in her face,
It's unrelenting.
Yeah.
But, I ask you, where would we cut to?
Right.
I mean, we're here.
Yeah.
And when we were shooting it, as we were editing, it's like we don't want to be anywhere but here.
Yeah.
And we're also she's especially in the cross-examination, they don't let up on her. And so we feel that we really are present in what her emotional experience is in that moment.
At 100%. I agree. And there was even and I don't want to spoil anything, but at the end of the film, when there's notes on the screen that the anti-lynching act, the Emmett Till anti-lynching act, just got passed March 29th, 2022. Had you guys even wrapped production? Like, when did you guys had you wrapped production before that law had even been passed?
We wrapped production before, like a few months before, but we were still in post-production.
Isn't that crazy?
It was wild. It was wild. I mean, but still, it's 67 years out, so it's kind of like a bittersweet thing. Why did it take so long? But we were happy that it was passed.
Yeah. And how important was it for you to, I feel like this movie really, which is, it's sad that this has to be said, but it really humanizes what Mamie went through. And we see these levels of who she is as a woman, but it's not, it's a strength, but it has such a femininity to it, such a grace to it. I want to talk about that a little bit, because obviously sometimes strong Black woman, there's a negative connotation that can be on that. But I saw such grace and femininity and light within Mamie. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely something that Danielle and I talked a lot about.
Okay.
You know, that it was important that she's not just strong.
Yeah.
You know, even though it takes a level of strength to
Absolutely.
do what she did, right? But even in that strength, there are layers, you know. So when we're talking about her at the courtroom, she is actively having to suppress her rage and actively having to just try to be present and to not show certain emotions for these for the people. Like, so much is going on through her head, and so what all the different emotions and layers to it are the things that Danielle and I talked about. What is she actively trying to resist, or what is she choosing to present in this moment? And I think that those kinds of conversations and decisions that Danielle made is what adds to the humanity, what adds to the grace, what adds to the femininity, the vulnerability, and all of that, and on top of the strength as well.
I love that. And I mean, my last question, it's not really a question, but I don't know if the conversation has started, but I will start it here today. Oscars. I see it 1,000%. I think Danielle deserves an Oscar nomination. I think you deserve an Oscar nomination. Do you see that for yourself? Could you see that happening?
I say this so honestly, I do not think of awards when I'm making my films. I'm like, it's about the work and
Amen.
making sure that this is as
Amen.
excellent as possible, and that I honor the story that I'm telling.
Yes.
And so anything beyond that, you know, it is what it is.
I'll say it for you. Oscar nominations need to happen for this movie. It's absolutely incredible. It was a beautiful watch. I'm going to scream it from the mountaintops that everyone should see it. So thank you
so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.